I'm excited to discuss the recent transactions, the two trades today. I for one, I want to start with the players that we've traded elsewhere. For one, Cristian Mena, that's a credit to Marco Patti and our international scouts, our player development system, and being part of a player that's going to have a successful major league career. He's very close to the major leagues, and he's a guy that started at our academy, has worked his way up to AAA, and I'm sure there's going to be some quality days ahead. He's been a high character player, obviously talented, and wish him well. So it's a bit bittersweet. Now on the alternative, having the opportunity to bring in Dominic Fletcher from the Arizona Diamondbacks, left-handed hitting outfielder that can help us in all different positions in the outfield, both center field, right field, could spell us in left field as well. But hammers righties, or he has historically, and to be able to, provide that type of offensive potential, defensive ability to the organization. We felt like it was a smart baseball decision to bring him into the organization, albeit for Cristian Mena, who has a bright future. And then with, the Seattle Mariners, we were able to work out a deal sending Gregory Santos for Prelander Berroa, right-handed pitcher, outfielder Zach DeLoach, and then a Comp B pick. And Gregory was a player that obviously we were able to acquire last offseason. Whether it be Ethan Katz, our coaching staff, our scouts, and analytic group who suggested bringing him in, and led to some adjustments, and he performed obviously very well. But the way we viewed this, and we've been viewing any move that we've made this offseason, is we consider any potential move where we feel like we're perhaps getting us better in multiple places. And with getting a reliever who's got a track record somewhat similar to Gregory Santos, who's not in Prelander Berroa, who's been a starter and a reliever here recently, upper 90s, touch 100 type velocity on his fastball. To have him come into the system and getting comfortable as a reliever was exciting. And to be able to get a left-handed hitting outfielder in Zach DeLoach, who's got power potential. He's a performer in the upper minor leagues, a higher draft pick, a strong makeup kid to add to our depth, outfield depth, and create some competition for the 2024 roster. We felt like it was advantageous for us to move forward with that. And then, of course, the value of getting a comp pick as well. So viewed this as accomplishing something here in the short term. We've got controllable players, and then be able to get the draft pick to build even further for our future as well. So it made sense. And then all things considered, to look at two relievers that we've moved this offseason, granted very, very effective, good pitchers for, Mike Soroka, Nicky Lopez, Jared Schuster, Braden Shoemake, Riley Goins, Prelander Berroa, DeLoach, Zach DeLoach, and comp pick. We felt like we were able to multiply and hopefully fill gaps and build a foundation for us moving forward with those two relievers.
Thanks, Chris. So let's open up to questions. Our first question will come from Vinny. Go ahead, Vinny.
Hey, Chris, with the two outfielders that you bring in here, Fletcher and DeLoach, how do you kind of look at right field now? Do you see Fletcher as your guys' right fielder? What has kind of changed between yesterday and today in terms of the situation for right field?
Yeah, we view both players that are going to get the opportunity to be in our outfield this year. Fletcher's got major league experience. He's had some success at the major league level. And DeLoach hasn't gotten the opportunity quite yet. but I'm sure when he gets it, he'll take advantage of it as well. So, both players that we feel strongly about that can help us. More than anything, creating outfield depth from the left-handed side, we felt like was something that we wanted to pursue and were able to convert on. So happy to have both of them. To say one or the other is going to be, our right fielder or left fielder, I think is premature. I'm just excited to have both of them, in the building, so to speak.
Last time we talked to you, I think you were asked if you were looking to add in right field. Are you still looking to add in right field, or do you think that these deals give you enough of a group?
Feel pretty good about where we're at. With that being said, if there's an opportunity to upgrade the roster, we're going to do that. Obviously, with both of those guys being left-handed, perhaps there's an opportunity to find a right-handed hitting outfielder to pair with them or throw into that mix. So we're open-minded there. Kevin Pillar, I know word got out that he was coming in on a minor league deal. He's obviously a veteran right-handed hitting outfielder who can play all three. So we'll take a look at that in spring training with all of these options and move forward with what we feel like is the best for our major league club to begin the year.
Next question comes from Scott Merkin. Go ahead, Merk.
Hey, Chris, you said Berroa has worked as a reliever and a starter. Do you view him which way do you view him right now coming in?
Yeah, we view him as a reliever. Yeah, he certainly has back end potential. You look at the history of successful relievers. Many of them, if not most of them, were starters at some point of their careers. And then their careers evolve as relievers, and I think I am a believer that is a path that can benefit pitchers when they go join a bullpen, is having that starter kind of experience in their back pocket, just having to navigate multiple innings or having to go deeper into games, the value of command, multiple pitches at any time. So. But regardless, we view him as a bullpen arm that we look forward to being around in spring training to see how it plays out this season.
We're about a week, 10 days, I guess, from pitchers and catchers reporting. How would you assess what you and your front office, and I imagine that this has been a very much of a collaborative effort in terms of deciding who to move, deciding if it's worthy to move, this guy for these two. How would you assess what you've put together going into this season?
Yeah, we feel pretty good. I mean, as a group, I feel like we've accomplished a fair amount this year or this offseason. Building a strong foundation for not only for 24, but for the season. I've talked about improving our defense. You look at, bringing in two veteran catchers. You've got Paul DeYoung, you got Nicky Lopez, and obviously you got Louis Robert up the middle. Now we've got, two more outfielders that are strong on the defensive side, but also have the ability to bring something to the table offensively. So to clean up our defense or put our best foot forward on the defensive side, but still keep our offensive potential, building on our offensive potential is important. And felt like we've been able to do that with some of the acquisitions, and then finding starting pitching innings. Whether it be some of these trades or some of our free agent signings. So I all things considered, feel pretty good about where we're at. Obviously, we're very close to spring training, but that does not mean that we won't continue to look at opportunities to make us better.
Go ahead, Daryl.
Hey, Chris. Fletcher, center fielder, plays all three. DeLoach defensively, how do you sort of view him from a defensive standpoint?
Yeah, view him as a corner outfielder. Fairly athletic kid. He's performed offensively, better in the wing, so he's going to have the ability to play right and left field. I don't foresee too many center field games for him with Louis Robert and some of our other options, but that doesn't mean that down the road there could be there still could be an opportunity for him. But we view him long term as a corner outfielder.
How are you I know it's a long ways away yet from opening day, but as far as your ninth inning, how Gregory was sort of the guy there, how do you assess that?
Yeah. Time will tell. Obviously, we've got to breathe a little bit based on the transaction we've had today. Gregory was able to serve in many roles last year. He had closed games, but he's been a bridge guy, an early guy, multi-inning guy. So I think more than anything, we've got a lot of quality options. Like most years, it takes a little bit of time for the identities of the bullpen to kind of take shape in regards to different roles. But I like the style of arms that we have, both starting and relievers. And I look at, there's plenty of upside. So time will tell. We will certainly be creative with how we deploy our pitching. We've had a lot of conversations this offseason, and whether it be how we're going to use some of our arms, and also whether it be Brian Bannister or others, finding players that kind of fit in our style of what we're going to roll out there here in the future.
Go ahead, Chuck.
Hey, Chris, obviously giving up a guy like Cristian Mena, you want to get something big for him. Fletcher, clearly someone you think very highly of him. What is it about Fletcher? Why is he a guy you guys want? And I'm guessing Josh knew something a little more about him than you did, because he was obviously following him when he was with the Diamondbacks. Just what is it about Fletcher with, like, that's the guy you wanted for Mena?
Well, we have been able to accumulate some upper level pitching here in the last year or so, whether it be trades, players working through the minor leagues, and Cristian obviously is one of those players that's part of that pool. And and sometimes you need to utilize perhaps I hate to use the word surplus, because I don't think we were quite there, but you have to tap into some areas to fill perhaps a need elsewhere, and that was the case. When it came to bringing in Fletcher. Now, what stood out for Dominic Fletcher? Left-handed hitting outfielder, and he can defend. He's got both offensive and defensive potential. And I say potential, he's performed and he's gone out and done that. So high makeup kid, high energy, plays the game the right way. He can base run, he can defend, he makes good decisions on a baseball field. Got a really, really solid reputation. Obviously, being able to gain greater insight from Josh is helpful, being, that Josh is coming from there. But whether it be our scouts or front office, beyond Josh, the recommendation was strong, and it lined up for us to go out there and execute this deal.
Go ahead, Vinny.
Chris, you mentioned, kind of at the top why you were comfortable with turning Santos into multiple players, but he was a guy that had a lot of club control left, performed really well for you guys last year. What was kind of the decision process in finally deciding to let him go in exchange for some of these other guys?
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, it came down to multiplying and being able to get multiple players. For one, Gregory Santos, I anticipate he's going to go out there and perform well and have a great career. I do. Now, to be able to get someone like Prelander Berroa, who's got similar attributes, along with Zach DeLoach, who we've been after for some time, and then obviously the opportunity to get a draft pick here and add to our pool that'll positively affect, we hope, on our draft. So both short term and long term, we're able to kind of check those boxes, or at least that's the hope here. It was a hard decision. I mean, to trade a Gregory Santos is not easy, but there's volatility with relievers, and to be able to add Berroa and DeLoach and the comp pick, we felt like this was a sound baseball decision.
Early in the offseason, when you guys made the Bummer trade, you weren't kind of ready to say whether Nicky was going to be your everyday second baseman or whether he would kind of move around the infield. At this point, are you looking at him as your everyday guy at second base?
Quite honestly, I view it as middle infield, short and second. Paul DeYoung, can play shortstop. Shumay can play multiple positions too. And we certainly have Colson Montgomery that's not too far off from impacting our major league club. So they're going to play both. To say that one is a primary shortstop or second baseman, I don't think is necessary at this point. Nicky's had success at both positions, both defensively, and he's had some offensive success as well. More than anything, I'm really excited about what those guys are capable of doing on the defensive side. And, you know, hopefully we put them in a position for offensive success as well.
Go ahead, Lamont.
Hey, Chris. Yeah, you mentioned the draft picks. What does it mean to have, I think, what, three picks in the top 69 there?
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, the being able to trade draft picks is, you know, fairly new. You know, and to properly value each draft pick, you know, we have our system to be able to understand what each pick is worth, just beyond just the slot amount, but it gives you some flexibility, and you know, throughout those 10 rounds to maximize. So obviously we've got the fifth pick this year, but to be able to have you know, an additional pick on the early rounds is exciting for sure. Mike Shirley and our staff, and we look forward to taking advantage of that.
Go ahead, Merkin.
Hey, Chris, it's probably not a Zoom in the offseason if we don't ask you a little bit about Dylan Cease. You know, there's been more rumblings about him. And I guess looking at it the other way, how do you kind of approach camp, going to camp with him as your guy? You know, I mean, and there still may be, like you said, just because it's February 14th doesn't mean something might happen February 18th or 19th. And I know we all know Dylan, we all know his personality, that he can handle this, but how do you, as a kind of a team, go into it like that?
Well, for one, Mark, when you started that question, I thought you were going to refer to a Michigan question of some sort, but I guess
I can do that too if you want.
Yeah, because we usually hit on that, and there's time for that as well. Thanks for wearing the sweatshirt. But when it comes to Dylan Cease, I mean, you know, certainly teams have called. You know, we've had regular conversations, and we've gone back and forth, and you know, the spirit is to, just like any other move we've made, if we feel like we're going to be better, you know, better off for the organization to move Dylan Cease, we'll do that. Obviously, we're pushing towards spring training here, and you know, once we get to Arizona and we start establishing who we are and what we want to be, you know, it could become a little bit more challenging, whether it be Dylan Cease or another individual to move. But we'll cross that bridge when we do. I think so much of this still goes back to Dylan Cease, the individual, and how even-keeled he is, and most importantly, how talented he is and what he's capable of doing. He's got Cy Young stuff. He's been, you know, he's still viewed as one of the top pitchers of the game, and you know, I'm really excited about what we've been able to do to put him in a position to really excel. So I view this as our team is I feel very solid about where we're at right now. Dylan Cease is a huge part of this organization currently. We'll continue to have conversations just like Dylan Cease or others. If there's ways to improve our club, we'll do that. We'll entertain that. But he's still wearing a White Sox uniform, and I look forward to seeing him in a couple of weeks here.
Eli?
Hi, Chris. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I think you've kind of already hit on it a little bit, but, you know, we're about 10 days away or so from pitchers and catchers reporting. And I was just curious if you're really like hard set on Paul and Nicky as the two guys up the middle of your infield, that you're still looking at perhaps adding any more depth there to create more competition in the spring. And I just wanted to see what more you had to say about when it comes to second base and shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, what stood out about Nicky and Paul was their defensive ability, the ability to play shortstop. Obviously, moving on from TA opened up, you know, opportunity up the middle. And, you know, they have solid reputations to perform well defensively. They both had success offensively. So feel pretty good about where we're at the middle infield position. You know, are there ways or opportunities perhaps to improve the group as a whole? Yeah, I think there's a chance at that. But, you know, I also feel pretty good about where we're at from a middle infield standpoint, you know, as it stands today on February 3rd.
Next question comes from James. Go ahead, James.
Hey, Chris, how you been?
Hey, James. How about yourself?
I'm really happy for you and Scott with Michigan. Just, very warming to my heart.
Thanks, James. God bless you.
Sounds very genuine.
I'm genuinely curious about, you mentioned the being able to trade for draft picks. Just how much does that, being able to do that become a big focus as, this offseason probably being more focused on strengthening the long-term position of the team than maybe the last couple of off seasons. So you mentioned kind of having a value system in place for it. Has that become like a bigger focus and kind of helped you make some deals to put yourself stronger going forward, being able to trade for draft picks?
Yeah, I mean, they having draft picks part of the conversation is exciting because it's an opportunity to improve your system, your farm system, and our farm system has been climbing, both because of our drafting here recently, whether it be Colson, Noah Schultz, and others. And so to get another crack at a higher pick is something that we're looking forward to doing. So to be able to get the best of both worlds of feeling like you're helping out your major league club along with your farm system, I think puts you in a position for sustainable success. And that's what we're set out to do.
And one more thing with Fletcher, obviously versatility is part of what makes him appealing as a player. But when you have a Luis Robert in center, do you have to kind of be like, well, if he's only going to play right field if he's only going to play corners for us because we have a 150 game guy in center, or do you have to kind of profile the bat to where if he's just a corner outfielder that works for us? Is that part of the evaluation with it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you look at the offensive profile, what he's capable of doing, and you weigh that with the defensive side as well, right? As part of the complete package, the ability to play, center field. Although we have a center fielder, is still a valuable thing, whether it be finding days for Louis Robert to find rest if he needs rest. Knock on wood, if something were to happen from a health standpoint, someone needs to take a break to heal up, to have someone to be able to play left field, right field, and certainly center field, you benefit from strengthening your depth. We like the offensive potential. He's really done well against right-handed pitching, and to find a package of outfielders, both left and right, is how you position yourself for success throughout a long season. But the versatility is valuable. Same thing goes for the middle of the diamond. If you have a player that has the ability to play shortstop, that type of depth can be really valuable throughout the year. So these are all factors that go into the decisions when it comes to evaluating Dominic Fletcher. Yeah, I mean, it was a factor being that he has the ability to play center field, but we like, if he's out there, if we're running him out there regularly in right field, with certain matchups, we feel like we're going to put ourselves in a position to have success that day.
We all silly like the